Roads dry. Thank you. Mr. Mauer?
I think biblically for everything there is a season, and sometimes there are times when we need to change things for a variety of reasons, and I think handling them in different ways at different times is perfectly fine. I do not think this is a particularly important time to change the name of a street. I'd like to say in my prayer tonight that I'd like to listen to what people have to say, and I did listen to what people have to say for what it's worth, and I will vote against changing the name because I think there is something significant about the past in this particular issue. So I will vote against.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to respond. I want to make it clear, I don't feel that if it stays Silvex Road, it stays Silvex Road. That's not really my issue. I am concerned about setting precedents because I think we always have to balance preservation of history and understand what's important to save. Because if it's so easy to save Silvex Road, you know? That's so easy. We can just go ahead and save it. It's not a big deal. And then what happens then to the efforts to save things that are of tremendous historical importance? Somehow or other, this council, is this our precedence? Silvex Road, okay, that's our precedence. We must preserve that. Why wasn't there any sort of an effort to preserve Brocco? Why wasn't there any support to preserve Brocco? I think it's because this is easy. Brocco would have taken effort, and we let Brocco we knocked it down, and now that all the pieces have fallen, it was a useless loss. It's an absolutely useless loss. There's nothing there. So, you know, I can see it coming, the numbers are there, it's going to be Silvex Road, but could we consider trying to set precedents where we really examine the importance of history so that we are clear that we are going to support the protection of those artifacts and buildings that are historically important. We need to devote ourselves to the right thing as opposed to just the easy thing. So my vote against this is not a vote against history. It's the opposite. I just think, you know, we ought to pay attention and learn what's really important. We ought to do our homework before we just protect and before we just knock down.
Thank you. Any other comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Nay.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Nay.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans. Mr. Mauer.
Okay.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donchez.
Aye.
5 no, 2 yes, fails.
Thank you. Chair will accept the motion by Mr. Evans, second by Mr. Mauer, to consider resolutions 11C through 11F as a group. I ask the clerk to call the roll on the motion to read the resolution, please.
Mrs. Belinsky. Aye. Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donchez.
Aye.
All are certificates of appropriateness under the provisions of the Act of the Pennsylvania Legislature and Bethlehem Ordinance. 11C, a proposal to install a new wall sign at 325 Broadway. 11D, to repair or replace the roof with slate line shingles at 606 Evans Street. 11E, to renovate the facade including roofing, windows, and trim at 409 to 411 Wyandotte Street. 11F, to replace neon signage with similar signage at 320 East 3rd Street. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Bethlehem that certificates of appropriateness are granted for the work. The resolutions are sponsored by David DiGiacinto and Jean Belinsky.
Comments? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Belinsky.
Aye.
Mr. DiGiacinto.
Aye.
Ms. Dolan.
Aye.
Mr. Evans.
Aye.
Mr. Mauer.
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds.
Aye.
Mr. Donchez.
Aye.
7-0 pass.
Thank you. We'll move to item 12, new business. Chairman Evans.
Thank you, Mr. President. My first announcement is that there will be a Parks and Public Property Committee meeting tomorrow. That's Thursday, November 4th at 6 p.m. That will be held in the Mayor's Conference Room. 3 items on the agenda. EAC riparian resolution. Number 2 will be discussing the Steelworkers Memorial. And thirdly, we'll be discussing the renaming of the ice rink. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move. Any other new business? Members of council, new business?
I have one piece of new business for Commissioner Beddick. I was made aware today that there was, and I don't know, it's just third hand. It's not. I did not read it or confirm it yet. There was another accident on Elizabeth Avenue. Are you made aware of that yet? On Elizabeth Avenue, across from the BASD Stadium during an event that occurred yesterday. I don't know if anyone from the administration is aware of that. I can confirm that it did happen. Not
A vehicular accident or someone hit by a
I
car?
was heard it was a pedestrian that was struck.
I know the people involved, yes.
Okay. What's that?
Is there a question about it?
Yeah, the question is, I know that the district, they just mentioned to me in my capacity that they are looking to see what might be done, and that I know that crossing's been there forever. Is there anything that we can do to step it up? Because it's kids and people have been crossing forever, their vehicles have been crossing forever, but it seems either it's happening a little more often, more incidents are close or nearby incidents that are happening. It's been brought to my attention. I've watched it, the couple games I've gone to. I've stood outside an extra period of time just watching. It does get a little hairy, the people making, running in front of traffic, and traffic maybe not slowing. So I think it's both ways, acting more aggressively. Is there anything that we can do or look, at least if we could reach out, or we could reach out to the district to look and see what we can put into place, especially on game nights football, there's lots of traffic. You're talking about thousands of people. And I know it might be difficult every event because there are soccer games. The stadium's used heavily between soccer and field hockey and everything.
Last night was a soccer game.
Last night was a soccer, yeah. So even on the small attended event, well, that was, but I'm saying even there might be something after school, middle school, field hockey game at 5 o'clock. That might be just families, not much more than that, but there's still that danger, and it seems that maybe we should look if we could do something during those hours. I don't know if it's to the point where we put someone out there, or it'd become very difficult with the traffic patterns to close off the street during that time, and maybe look at some possible solutions to make it a little more safe out there.
Well, I know in preparation for this weekend's Freedom Liberty game, after the football game is over, we were actually going to have officers out on Elizabeth Avenue to help them with pedestrian cross. But maybe Mike's department can take a look at some type of traffic calming stuff. But I know when there is some type of event at the high school, we are starting to make it part of the officers' duties to go out onto Elizabeth Avenue and make sure that the pedestrians get across in a safe manner.
And last Friday night after the Bethlehem Catholic game, they had a marked police unit with its parked at that sidewalk with the lights flashing.
Something like that would
Help
be.
the pedestrians as they cross, traffic automatically slowed because of the vehicle. Police vehicles.
Yeah, something like that, some kind of consistency would be great to send the message, to get people to start thinking about it, because I think part of it's the fall season is when you do the heavy traffic. In the spring, a couple track meets, but in the fall there are so many events, and when it's getting dark earlier, even going to the games, kids are running across, they're excited to get to the games, and it's already dark pre-game by 7 o'clock, and that's the cause for the incidents. But so I appreciate anything we could do to work to put something there where it's a consistent solution.
But I can see making that part of the duty. The school district usually hires the police officers at the next duty time. What we should do is extend the period of the assignment so the traffic crossing can be involved with that, not just the security at the football game or soccer event, but in addition to that, extend it another half hour so people are helped cross the street after the event is over.
And I don't know where this would fall or how comfortable you would be with the district. I know has their own security cars that have lights, so is that something you would want them to be involved, or maybe not? I don't know, but that's another thing to think about.
I don't see a problem with them placing
More of a-
whatever the lights
Yeah,
are.
because Grenadier doesn't seem to have as many issues, but it's that Elizabeth where really people have the speed, even out front of Linden, it's not like that, but that Elizabeth is becoming dangerous. Thank you.
Mr. Reynolds?
Just to add to that, a couple of things. One is I live close by that area, and I'm certainly aware of it. And I will say that I think the situation when they painted the crosswalks improved a little bit. And I'm sorry, Councilman Dolan, but I do have to say that one time about 4 years ago, I was out for a run in the morning, and Councilman Dolan was teaching his son how to drive, and he almost clipped me as I was crossing the street. Which she apologized for, and she kind of instructed her son that he's not to pull out into the crosswalk as someone's going through. But I do have some personal experience. At the same time, on a more serious note, I think that it was something that I had. I think I've sent at least one memo to Mr. Alcall in the past, and he's kind of taken a look at it. I'm sure he can go over some of the reasons why they did what they did there with the signage and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I do think it deserves mentioning that if we're going to talk about doing something there in the future, I'm not saying we're against it, but those kind of things do cost money. I mean, you know, and these type of little things do add up. Once again, I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. Like I said, I don't think there's anybody that's talking more about pedestrian issues and brought it up in more meetings than I have in the last couple of years. But it's just another concern. It's another concern going forward. But like I said, and I think one of the positives of having Liberty High School in the middle of the city of Bethlehem is the fact that it gives us a central location for our school, and everyone comes there. At the same time, I think sometimes, I mean, if you get whatever 8, 9, 10,000 people coming to a football game on a Friday or Saturday, and they have events there and they use it pretty frequently, it's one of those things we certainly have to monitor. But at the same time, it's part of it. I think it comes along with the territory. And like I said, other than putting like a traffic light there or a stop sign there, people come through down there at the bottom, and they just kind of come up. They know there's not another light until Linden Street. And it's a struggle too with the way the trees are, which provide a good ambiance and they're nice for the neighbors and that kind of thing. But also at sometimes they kind of stop the street lights from providing light there.
Do you have any other new business?
Oh, yeah, I just want to comment on the same things. I work at Liberty, and I don't know when you're going to stop telling that story. I really am sorry that my
It's the
son...
first time I've told it at a public meeting.
This is the second time driving. But anyway, I wasn't happy that he almost killed Councilman Reynolds, but he did learn from it. I don't think it necessarily has to cost money, because the city has, maybe the district has, those pedestrian signs that it's like a little guy walking, yellow. And I would think that might be something that actually should be there at the start of every school day, or at the start of an athletic day on a Saturday, for example. Put out, taken back, like something that a custodian does. Because that area is dangerous all day long, but it's dangerous in the morning when dropping off kids. It's dangerous at night when there's plays and when there's football games. We had a death there just a few months ago. I think maybe two people died, or one. The husband died or something, but we had a death there, a pedestrian death, and then another pedestrian accident. In 10 years at Liberty, at least, I would say on average, once a year, someone gets struck by a car. And those signs, which are cheap, you can put them right in the middle of the road, and they really do seem, I'm told, Mike Alcall has told me that they do make a significant difference, and they don't cost a lot. So maybe Cindy, we could make that in the form of a memo to see if whatever they're called, the portable pedestrian signs could be made available to the custodial staff at Liberty High School to use on a regular basis at more than one spot, perhaps even at all the pedestrian crossings in the beginning, because it's the same people driving back and forth usually. And they just need to learn to stop. So it's a lot of it's an education thing. People just plow right through those pedestrians. And then they honk at the pedestrians and they curse at them. So they need to be educated. And I think those signs say it's state law, right? I believe they say that. So why don't we give that a shot? That's inexpensive.
Thank you. Any other new business?
We'll just as a way of follow-up, we'll make sure that those pedestrian placards are there, and we'll communicate with the district about when to put them out and how to put them out. I talked to Mike in August, and I said that particular crosswalk on Elizabeth Avenue is not with the special reflective, so we can look to, the next time sooner than later, we'll make sure that it has the reflective paint. And also, we'll talk to the health department, because we've been working with the police department to do these pedestrian stings. that could be another place that we might want to look to do that before and after a game. So we'll take a look at it. Fortunately, the young lady involved last night was not seriously injured. So.
Thank you.